Yes, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this session of sustainable construction methods. Today, we'll be seeing this topic, what is modular coordination. As you can see here, modular coordination is a concept of coordination of dimension and space in which buildings and components are dimensioned and positioned in a term of a basic unit or module known as 1M, which is equivalent to 100 mm. Basically, we want to have a good coordination of dimension and space. Each small unit of such as 100 mm can also make a very huge difference here. Basically, we want what we want to do is we want to make the optimum use of the space without wasting even a unit up to 1 m, which is 100 mm. So this is what is coordination. We want to come up with a good setup where even a small unit of 100 mm is also not wasted. So it is internationally accepted by International Organization for Standardization and many other countries. So it is accepted by international societies also and many other countries also. Thus, the modular coordination can facilitate the achievement of greater productivity in the building industry by virtue of its ability to discipline the dimensional and spatial coordination of a building and its components. Basically, what happens is in many buildings, if if this coordination is not done properly, much of the space is wasted. So, what we are trying to do is we are trying to use the maximum space without leaving any wastage. We are trying to use every inch of the space available so that the maximum number of units or maximum optimum use can be done here. So this is what is modular construction here. Let us see here. Modular coordination is a useful design tool that provides useful design principles and rules which combine freedom in architectural planning and free choice of construction method with the possibility of incorporating standardized modular components in the project. See, basically, we are dealing with something which is related to architectural planning. What does the architecture does is he tries to set up all the units whatever are needed by the client uh, without wasting a small unit of 1 m, also 1 m, that is 100 mm also. So if though the structural design engineers, as the whole construction is combined with the planning of an architecture as well as a structural design engineer is needed, whereas the structural design engineer gives you the size of the columns and the strength of the columns and beams and the slabs, and whereas the architectural planning engineer, he gives you he plans you, or he gives you he tries to incorporate all the units needed by the client without wasting a space of 1 m also, that is 100 mm also. So this is what is proper. If proper coordination is done, you might see in some plannings, in some plans, the because of proper coordination, even small space is being used for some or the other purpose, which may without any wastage. You can just see what are the aims of modular coordination here. The principal object is to assist rationalization and industrialization within the building industry by standardization in such a way that components may be manufactured on an industrial scale and erected efficiently on site, thereby improving economics of building. So basically, what we want to do is we want to join what is happening in the industry as well as in the uh, on-site and off-site. If we clearly uh, if we clearly handle the project, like if the clear standards are maintained and these elements are being manufactured off-site and then they are transported and then they are assembled on site. Basically, we want to make this coordination proper so that there is the economy of the building is also reduced and getting greater benefits and greater standards also. So this standardization, this coordination, we want to do it perfectly. See, it facilitates cooperation between building designers, manufacturers, distributors, contractors, and authorities. If this coordination is properly done, then their cooperation between the designers, manufacturers, distributors, contractors, and authorities can be easily achieved. So this is a very important modular coordination is a very important role it plays in it plays a very important role in in joining all these designers to the authorities. Uh, then to permit the use of building components of standard sizes to construct any building. So basically we come up with this modular coordination, we come up with the specific sizes of building components which are needed for the building construction. In design work, to simplify the preparation of building drawings, in design work even this is used coordination, so that we can simplify the building drawings very easily, which can be understandable to any layman also. It optimizes the number of standard sizes of building components. It reduces the number of standard sizes of buildings, rather than going for different sizes for each element, making the construction a little bit critical. You can see here, it encourages as far as possible the interchangeability of components in whatever materials, forms or methods of manufacture. So we try all possible ways to interchange whatever materials can be changed. Uh, so this is also modular coordinations comes up with this aims also. It encourages whatever change can be done within the material, even that is encouraged here. It simplifies site operations by rationalizing, setting out, positioning and assembling of building components. So it simplifies also, it simplifies the work from the off-site till the on-site, it simplifies the work. So even this is the aim of modular coordination. So it ensures dimensional coordination between installation as well as within the rest of the building. So the dimensional coordination of each small unit also, like equipment storage units and other fitted furniture, even this is coordinated within the building. So even the furniture units where what can be set up, storage units where they can be set up, and each and every unit is set up specifically without wasting any small dimension of space also. You can see what are the benefits of this now. Better coordination and cooperation between various parties in construction. So as I had told you, from the design engineers to the authorities and contractors, better cooperation can be achieved with this modular coordination. If the coordination is proper, then all this can be achieved. Reduction in design time, especially with the use of standard details and dimensional coordination. Reduction in design time. So design time can also be reduced, especially with the use of standard. As we are using standard details, the design time can also be reduced. And dimensional coordination also. As I told you, each and every inch of dimension we want to make a proper use of it, with the reduction in the time also. Reduction in manufacture and installation cost. If proper coordination is done, even the reduction in manufacture as well as installation cost can be achieved. Reduction in waste of materials, time and manpower in cutting and trimming on site. As I told you, the wastage of materials is also reduced up to a very high, high intensity. A lot of wastage materials are reduced, the time is reduced, manpower is also reduced because of proper coordination. Facilitating prefabrication, as the most of the elements are prefabricated. If proper coordination is done, off-site and on-site work can be done simultaneously without wasting the time, and perfect standards of prefabricated elements can be achieved here. So what is basis of modular coordination? What are the basis of this? So the modular coordination is essentially based on the use of modules, that is basic modules and multi modules. So how do we achieve this modular coordination? How does this come into effect? A reference system to define coordinating spaces and zones of building elements, and for components which form them. So basically we form a coordinating spaces, we form a grid section of a specific space dimension, and then we try to set up each and every unit as per the need. We try to set up each proper unit without wasting any space. Rules for locating building elements with the reference system. Basic rules are being followed to locate the building elements. Rules for sizing building components in order to determine their work sizes. Work sizes, depending on the work size needed, we also come up with building components, so that proper rules are followed and this can be set up properly. Rules for defining preferred sizes for building components and coordinating dimensions for building. Preferred sizes of building components are used so that the maximum space can be utilized without wasting anything. So these are the, if these rules are followed properly, the maximum space can be achieved here. Let us see what is modules. What does modules mean? You can see a module, it is a standard unit size used to coordinate the dimensions of building and component. So basically a standard unit size is being used, and that is used for to coordinate the dimension of building. So basic module M is, as I told you in the previous slide, it is 100 mm. Basic M denotes 100 mm. The basic module is a fundamental unit of size and modular coordinate. So this is the basic module size, which is of 100 mm. It is denoted as M. The coordinating sizes of building components of the parts of the building they form and of building themselves shall be multiples of basic module. So they shall be multiple to the basic module, which is of M, which is 100 mm. Now this, what is, you can see a basic module M is equal to 100 mm. Then again we have sub modules, then we have multi modules. Let us see further. What is multi-module? It is 2M, 3M, that is 200 mm, 300 mm. Multi-modules are selected multiples of the basic module. Different multi-modules will suit particular application. So depending on the need, we will consider this multi-module system. If the number of units are more, there we need the multi-module system here. Let us see here. You can see a sub-module. This module is again divided into the half and a quarter size also. M by 2, M by 4 for sizing of components requiring increments smaller than M. For smaller than M, if the size of unit is anywhere smaller than M, that is 100 mm, they can be sub-moduled by M by 2 and M by 4. You can just see here this figure. M by 2 is 50 mm here. M by 4 is 25 mm. It is again reduced small size. M by 5 is 20 mm. It is reduced to a much smaller size here. Here M is 100 mm. So this can be reduced into smaller parts, but basic unit is M, that is 100 mm. Horizontal planning module MH is equal to 3M, that is 300 mm. The horizontal planning module for structural framework is based on the functional requirements of the building and components to be used for economic design. So horizontal planning is the structural framework is started from the horizontal planning, and depending on that the basic other elements are being set up. Vertical planning, you can see that is MV is equal to horizontal planning is MH, it is denoted by MH, that is 3M, basic size is 3M. For vertical planning model it is MV, that is 1M, that is 100 mm. Let us see the dimensioning. How do we go for this dimensioning? Modular zones indicated by a pair of parallel lines terminating in smaller circles. So these are the modular zones indicating the pair of parallel lines. You must have seen all this in uh, design softwares, where you come up with a grid is being formed and you come up with these small circles indicating at the terminating lines. You must have seen there, like in ETABS you must have seen it, and SAP also you must have seen it. Non-modular zones which interrupt the modular grid are indicated by a pair of parallel lines terminating in small circles at the each end. So these are non-modular zones which are indicated by this type of small circles at each end, half circles. Here these are the full circles which are the modular zones, and these are non-modular zones. Coordinating spaces for components may be indicated by a pair of parallel lines joined by an arrow at the both ends. So these are the coordinating spaces. This is the space available with us. This is the space available with us, which is denoted by these parallel lines and arrow indicating. So these are the space available with us, which depending on that available space, we can utilize each and in each unit where which can be fitted where. Tolerances, you can see here the permissible deviation for a specified value of structural dimension often expressed as a percent. So some deviation is some deviation can take place. That the deviation which can take place is, that is the permissible deviation which can move a small space. You can see here just the B which is marked here. The small deviation is tolerated here. Amount of variation permitted or tolerated is the size of the machine part. Size of the machine part is the amount of variation permitted. So other than that, the large variations are not permitted here. Manufacturing variables make it impossible to produce a part of exact dimension. See, manufacturing variables, sometimes they uh, don't get the exact dimensions on site. On site sometimes there are some variations which don't match up the manufacturing variables. So depending on that, we'll have to try to coordinate and come up with a specific solution. Hence the designer must be satisfied with the manufactured parts that are between a maximum size and a minimum size. So the manufacturer has to come up with some some part which is between the maximum and the minimum size. That is, it shouldn't go out of bounds, and it should not be able to fix it up the at the desired place there. Tolerance is the difference between maximum and minimum limits of a basic dimension. So what is it? Is the difference between maximum and minimum limits of a basic dimension. As we had told you, a small part can be tolerated, but the maximum part cannot be tolerated. So what is tolerance? How can it be? How can we find what is tolerance? It is the difference between maximum and minimum limits. Okay. For instance, in a shaft and a hole fit, when the hole is a minimum size and the shaft is a maximum, the clearance will be the smallest, and when the hole is the maximum size and the shaft is minimum, the clearance will be the largest. So what is the clearance between the shaft and the hole that is being seen here? So here a small tolerance is adapted here, or is permitted here, where the shaft and the hole are not up to the mark. So we'll have to change either the shaft or the hole depending on our requirement, or whatever it is easy. So this is what is tolerance here. Let us see what is the reference system. What is reference system? Reference system. Reference system is a system of points, lines, and planes to which the size and position of building components or assemblies relate. This is the whole reference system. A grid has been formed of a span size. You can see here horizontal and vertical. You can just see here horizontal, as we have told you, 3M is used. 3M example of a modular space grid. This is 3M. 3M horizontal, 3 into 100, that is 300 mm, and here vertical is only M, as we had told you, only M for vertical, that is 100 mm. So you can see this box size. It is 100 mm into 300 is vertical, and the Z direction, it is 6M, that is 600 mm. As a reference system should be used during the design stage and may also form the basis of the system of lines from which the measurements of site are set out. So this grid system is used at the starting stage. The whole area is being taken into a grid system, and there, depending on these grid system, we can mark our units wherever required. So modular space grid is a three-dimensional system of planes within which a building and its components are located. So it is a three-dimension within which the building and the components are located in this modular space grid only. The distance between the planes is such a system is equal to the basic module or to multi-module. As I had told you, the distance between each of them, what is it? For horizontal distance, we take it as 3M. For vertical distance, we take it as M. And here in the Z axis, we are taking it as 6M. So distance between planes is such a system is equal to basic module. So for a basic module, we are for horizontal distance and the vertical distance, it had been mentioned before or in the previous slides only. Let us see further reference system. You can see a basic modular grid. This is a basic multi-modular grid is here, small, and the size of these grids, or these boxes, is 1M vertical and 1M horizontal also. The fundamental modular grid is that in which the spacing of consecutive parallel lines is equal to the basic module. So consecutive parallel lines, the size of them is equal to basic module, that is 1M into 1M. This box size is 1M into 1M, that is 100 mm into 100. Multi-modular grids, you can see here. Within this grid, again small grids are being formed. Rectangular multi-modular. Within this grid, small grids are again formed. Within the square grid, small grids again. So this is called as multi-modular grids. Depending on our small units we need, even this type of multi-modular grids are needed. So we again go within the grid, we go for a small grid there. Reference system, interruptions and displacement of modular grid. It may be necessary to interrupt a modular grid, for example, in order to accommodate dividing element. If we need to accommodate some other elements, we have come up with a basic grid. If you want to accommodate something other, then these grids can be accommodated different with different elements. The width of the zone of interruption of the modular grid may be modular or non-modular. So depending on our need, we can accommodate anything which comes in between. Either it is modular or non-modular. In modular, you have specific size. In non-modular, you don't have specific size. You can see here whatever is needed. This is the basic sizes. Whatever is needed, we can accommodate in between also as per our need. The building reference system, the system of points, lines, and planes to which sizes and position of a building components or assembly may be related. So as the whole grid is being formed, After we have set up all these whatever we need, these grids can be uh, they can be erased, or they can be if you don't want to view them, even they can be removed. So this whole system is being from the elements have been attached to it, and we have come up with a small grid system, a 3D grid system, which can be seen properly. The plane of a reference system, you can see here what are the difference, as this is 1m here and all these are 1m, so you can easily get the dimensions of this grid. Let us see reference zone, a space bounded by reference planes in a building to receive a component, assembly or element, including with appropriate allowances for tolerance and joint clearances. So reference zone is this whole part. Reference zone, you can see here, this is a reference zone which comes up with what is the difference between these two elements. So this is called as reference zone. You can see here, here also you have found out the zone, like what is the difference between these two elements. So that is called as reference zone. Let us see what is modular line. A line of a modular reference system is called as modular line. Modular plane, a plane of a modular reference system, a plane in which the modular lines are being uh, erected are called as modular line. Modular zone, a zone between modular planes. As I have told you, this is the modular zone. Um, Modular size, the size of each modular dimension, the size of each grid is called as modular size. Planning grid, a reference grid for plan of a building, a reference grid which is taken at the start is called as planning grid. Modular grid, a reference grid in which the distance between consecutive parallel lines is the basic model, or a multiple thereof. So modular grid, it can be different from the planning grid. Planning grid is a basic grid which has only 1m size, that is 100 mm size of each grid, whereas modular grid is different. It is parallel, but it is a little bit different from the planning grid. Depending on if there are multiple grids, then it can be changed here. Space grid, a three-dimensional network of reference lines. This is space grid, a three-dimensional network. If you want to work on 2D, two-dimensional or three-dimensional, space grid is for 3 dimensions. Modular space grid, a space grid in which the distance between consecutive parallel lines is the basic model or material. So modular space grid, this is in a 3 dimension. This modular grid is in a 2 dimensional, and this modular space grid is for 3 dimensional. What are the different zone? A zone, a space between reference planes within a relation to which a building components are arranged. The space may be left unfilled. As you can see here, a zone is that space which is left unfilled. Nothing is there, so that is called as a zone. Wall zone, a zone where the wall is accommodated and it includes the wall finishes. So wall zone is that place the wall is accommodated and it includes the wall finishes is also included. The small minimum size of M is used here. Floor zone, the space in the section where the floor assembly is accommodated. It extends from the top of the floor finish to the bottom of the ceiling. So what is this floor zone? Is that space which starts from top of the floor finish to the bottom of the ceiling. Roof zone, those zones stretching from the bottom of the ceiling of the top floor to the top of the roof of the building. So roof zone is that which includes the floor finish as well as the ceiling also. Roof zone. The controlling, let us see the controlling reference system. What is this controlling reference system? A plane in a planning grid by reference to where the theoretical position of structural elements are designed. So this is the controlling plane. In controlling zone, a zone between controlling plates provided for a floor, roof, load bearing or a column. So controlling zone is that place which is a zone between these floor to floor, roof, load bearing walls and other columns also. What is the dimension and what are the sizes? This is the controlling zone. Controlling dimension, you can see here a dimension between controlling planes such as floor to floor height, distance between axes of column, thickness of column. You can see here each and every space is being trying to is being indicated, so that each and every unit of small size can be used optimally. An optimum use can floor to floor height, floor to ceiling height, height to floor zone. These are the different things here. Floor to floor height, the height between the upper controlling plane of one floor and the upper controlling plane of the roof immediately above. So from the bottom to the top, you can see a floor to ceiling height, floor to ceiling height, floor to floor height. You can see from here to the other slab here. You can see here. Then you can see here what is ceiling height from the bottom to the floor. Window head height, you can see a window head height. Sill height, you can see here. This is a sill height. Floor zone. So this is how each and everything has been marked for better performance and better utilization of each and every unit. Let us see what is component reference zone, what is coordinating line, coordinating plane. Each and everything is here. You can see here coordinating line bounding the zones where elements or components are fitted. So coordinating line is that line where the elements or components are fitted, that is that line. Coordinating plane, a plane by reference to which a building component or assembly is coordinated with. So basically a coordinating plane is there, then on that whatever is marked, then those lines joining each other is coordinating line. Coordinating space, a space bounded by coordinating planes allocated to a building, component or assembly including allowance for joint and tolerance. Coordinating dimension, a dimension of a coordinating space, a dimension which is common to two or more building components to permit their design. Sometimes two building components require the same space, so that required space is called as coordinating dimension. Coordinating size, the size of a coordinating dimension. You can just see here, coordinating dimensions is this space from this end to this end. You can see here work size, this is the whole work size where we can set up work size this much. Here this is the work size. Coordinating dimensions, you can see here from this place to this arrow to this arrow. This is the zone. Now, what is the building components and its sizes? Component, a building product formed at a distinct unit. A building product formed at a distinct unit. A component is that product which is formed in a prefabricated. Modular component, a component whose coordinating size are modular. Modular, as I told you, it is specific size, so that is called as modular component. Element, a part of a building or structure having its own functional identity, such as a footing, a floor, a roof, or a wall. Whatever different elements form a part of a building, that's each and every element is that which is such as a footing or a column or a beam or a slab. Modular element, an element whose coordinating size are remodular. So these are also elements which are which have a coordinating sizes and are remodular. Preferred dimension, a dimension chosen in preference to others for specific purpose. Preferred dimension, whatever dimension we need for specific purposes, this is the preferred dimension. Preferred size, a size chosen in preference to others for specific purpose. Preferred size, that size which is selected for our specific purpose. Work size, a dimension used by manufacturer of building component or assembly to ensure that the actual dimension lies between the maximum dimension and the minimum dimension. So maximum, the size between maximum and minimum dimension is called as work size. You can see here, just see here, structural grid is there. This is the planning grid where all these grids have been formed of a specific size. I have told you 1 m, and you can see what is the vertical and horizontal dimensions here. Structural grid, planning grid, all these we have seen before also what a structural and planning grid here. So these are also very much important. Structural grid used to locate structural components such as beams and columns. Structural grid. Planning grid, the whole planning is done on this grid only, and then the structural grid is used. Controlling grid, based on any convenient model of multiple for location of internal walls. For if internal walls are needed, there these controlling grids come into effect. Basic module grid, as I told you, this is the basic module grid which is used here, used for detailed location of components fitting. So this is the where detailed location of components and fitting is done. This is a basic module grid. Let us see here dimensional grid. You can see here the modular grid network defines the space into which dimensionally coordinated components must fit. An important factor is that the component must always be undersized to allow for joint which is sized by obtainable degree of tolerance and tightness. So this is the size of the component. Some joint space is being given here so that the element can fit here. Modular space allocated is this much, so the size of the component is this much. It should be able to fit properly. This is the joint space provided here. So this is the dimensional grid. As we have seen here, recommended modular dimensions we have seen here. Basic modular, as I told you, it is 1 m, that is 100 m. Structural grid 3 m, 1 m as per second preference. Horizontal module is 3M. Vertical multi-module is 1M, that is 0.5M. Doors multiples of 1M, windows multiples of 1M, and sub-module increment 0.5mm or 0.2mm. So depending on our need, this can be subdivided. So thanks a lot for today. We have seen what are the different modular coordinations and how the grids are being formed, and again how those grids can be subdivided depending on our need. So thanks a lot for today's video. I request all of you all to please go to this session and comment in the comment section so that I can answer to your questions. Thanks a lot.